welcome to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Public Safety Thursday, live in the studio today with the award-winning Captain Warren Gosnell. And I know that you and I have had a whole conversation before we turned on the mics and went live on the air, but I want on the record to say that is a much deserved award. You deserve it. You have earned it. And I am very proud of you. So congratulations.
Well, I appreciate that.
And the rest of them can just take a
I was going to say,
leap.
not everybody agrees.
Yes, all of the people that think they know better and think they know you and think they have a better idea of what's right and who you are and how you should act and what you should say can take a flying leap off of the tallest building in town.
Which is what? 2.5 stories?
I don't want
I
anybody jumping off the Discovery Museum. That would be bad for their PR.
I can tell you this. Some of the stuff I'm reading, I'm like, y'all know more about me and my career than I do.
Right?
But it's like, hey, but I appreciate it. It was, as I said, when they asked me in the paper, it truly is an honor. And so just even be considered. So
you are very much like me, except I joke about it probably more than you do, I love to get an award. I am first in line, hand up, ooh, pick me, anytime somebody is handing out any kind of an award. But it's not really about being in front of everybody and being handed that piece of hardware. For me, it's I did something good. It's kind of reinforcement that what I'm doing is the right thing to do.
It's
and
reaffirming.
It's educating people, and it's doing all the things that I had hoped to do when I started out. That's the exact same thing for you.
Well, and here's the thing. Let's be honest. I wasn't a bully in school, because, the people that say, oh, you think you're a big man, you must have been bullied in school. And I was, but I am not a bully, and I wasn't a bully in school. I also wasn't one of the award-winning students. I didn't letter in sports, even though I played. I made the teams. I did the best I could. I wasn't one of the star athletes. I did get my band participation thing. I got that.
What instrument did you play?
I was percussion, so I played several. I was drum major one year in the marching band. Believe that or not.
Are there photos?
There are.
I may need to see photographic proof of
there
that.
are. I'm actually skinny with long hair, wearing all white and a little bit of green. And on a rainy day, you had nothing left to the imagination because it rained during one parade. I found out. But my point being that I know what it's like to be the person that wished, man, I wish I could have got that. I wish I was good enough to do that. I wish I was good enough in sports. The blue ribbons on field day. I got a couple of reds and a couple of red is third place or white? Which white?
I don't know. I always stayed home sick on field day.
I didn't get many of
want to attempt.
I don't know if I got any of the blue ones. So I know what it's like to wish that I was. And so, when someone or a group finally says, hey, look, we appreciate what you've done. We recognize it. Here you go. I mean, if I'm too happy about it, then I'm egotistical, and stuff. If I'm not happy enough, well, shit, he doesn't care. And what about the people that you surround yourself with? Because a lot of the things that I continue to do are team oriented,
right?
And so that's the number one thing. And it's like. It's what I preach now whenever we have supervisor meetings, whenever I'm in a command staff meeting. The sheriff's office itself is a team, and then the patrol division is a team. And so it's not just any one person. There are certain things that a single person can do, initiatives you can take. Becoming an instructor in certain areas, becoming what some people may consider an expert in certain just little things. And when it comes to traffic, I think I've kept up enough that
I think you have.
If I don't know the answer, I'll say, hey, I don't know. But then that's the other thing.
Then you find the answer.
Or if I already know the answer, then it's like, well, he thinks he's a know-it-all. It's like, you can't win this. You can't win this fight. So
not with those people, which is what I was telling you before we turned the mics on. Those people are living very, very sad lives, and you just need to let them go on their merry way.
Well, for anybody that's wondering, no, I did not bring the award here. It's not traveling with me,
And
or
for
anything
the record,
like that.
so Scott has pre-recorded his news, and so his intro saying coming up next is Janet Michael. He did all of that. I don't even know when he did it, earlier today, yesterday, who knows. But you rolled your eyes when he said coming up next on the Valley Today, the award winning, and you were like, oh, here we go again.
So let's put a bow on this.
Okay.
I want to thank everybody that helped make it possible. That includes my instructors in the academy, my supervisors coming up. And that's the other thing, folks. Some of the comments, this is what he's doing. This is what's been going on. He has 27 years.
Right?
I do have 20 and some stats to back things up. So I'm appreciative. And yes, for the remainder of this show, you can stick with award winning, but after today, let's just keep it back to Gos or Captain or hey you. But yeah, it's a very special thing, and it's a great feeling. I'm not going to deny that. Just some of the follow up, like you said, with the social media trolls and other things. It's like, if anybody wants to know anything about me, all they got to do is ask me.
Right?
If it's my personal business, I may tell you it's my personal business. But anything with my job, you want to know, come ask me. And I'll tell you the truth. And if you don't like the answer, then you don't. I've said before, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. But for the most part, I try to adapt for situations and different personalities. And Tom Cruise said it in Maverick a couple times when they go, I don't like that look. And he goes, it's the only one I have. That's me. I mean, the RFB, people are like, man, you look mean. And it's like, I don't like the look on your face. And I'm like, it's the only one I have.
It's the only one I've got.
So there we go.
It's the one I was born with. So sorry about that. So I want to do old school today a little bit and talk traffic. I know now that we're Public Safety Thursday, we run the gamut of different things that we can talk about. But I've seen a couple of things. One in particular was something, and because we've done so many shows talking about traffic safety, talking about school bus safety when school was in session, somebody made a post about a school bus stopped at a 4-way intersection, and other people in the cars at the other intersections didn't follow the rules that this person said they should have. And I'm reading that going, wait, have we talked about that? Do I know that and have forgotten? So that was my first question to you.
We absolutely have talked about it. Whether you've forgotten about it, only you know that.
Probably the answer to that is yes.
But Virginia law, and again, we say this because you do the podcast, and so this show is available to anybody later in any other jurisdiction. But in Virginia, the code is very specific. A motor vehicle approaching a stopped school bus from any direction shall stop and remain stopped until the loading and unloading and until the bus is put back into motion. So if you come to a 4-way intersection and you got north, south, east, west, and the bus is north, south, east, and west all coming to that intersection have to stop and stay there. Doesn't matter if they're turning left or right and won't even go by that bus physically. You're to stop and stay stopped for the simple fact that kids can be coming from any direction trying to get to that bus, or if it's unloading, kids can be coming off and boom, they're gone in every direction. So Virginia law is clear. And the next vehicle that should move from that intersection would be what, Janet?
To the right.
But which vehicle should move first?
The bus.
There you go.
Yeah,
because everyone else is supposed to stay stopped until the bus goes into motion. So it's really very easy. If you come to a 4-way, all right, you're either second, third, or fourth in line. You got to stop and stay there and wait till that bus leaves. That's it. That's as simple as we can put it. And if people don't agree with those reasons about the little ones darting back and forth, then obviously it's either been too long since you had a little one, or you never had a little one, or you're not grasping. Yeah, you're not grasping the fact that not everybody has those little leashes that you see on these kids in the mall for their children. I don't know how I feel about those, but
I appreciate them more now that I have dogs, to be honest with you. I absolutely do. Let's take a break. When we come back, I have not such good questions about traffic fatalities. Can we talk about that in the next segment?
Yeah, we need to.
Okay, we're going to do all that when we come back. We are live in the studio today for Public Safety Thursday, doing double duty as Traffic Safety Thursday with Captain Gosnell from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. I hope my favorite sheriff is having a lovely day. We're going to come back in just a couple of minutes. Hello, nonprofits. Have a project that's been sitting on the back burner? United Way NSV's Day of Caring returns on September 19th, and your nonprofit can be a part of it. This is the region's largest single-day volunteer event with over 900 volunteers ready to help. Whether it's painting, landscaping, organizing, or repairs, Day of Caring gives your organization hands-on support and saves thousands in maintenance costs. It's simple. Submit your project, let United Way match you with a team, focus more of your budget on what matters most, your mission. Learn more at unitedwaynsv.org/Day of Caring or reach out to dayofcaring@unitedwaynsv.org. Let us send helping hands your way. The fourth time was the
We
charm.
shall not be denied. There will be music.
It only took 4 times. It worked fine the first
I
time.
kept whispering, hit it again. Hit it again.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Traffic Safety Thursday, Public Safety Thursday, all live in the studio today with Captain Gosnell from the Frederick County Sheriff's Office. So I turned the tables a little bit and wanted to go back to talking traffic safety because I had that burning school bus at intersections question.
And we just had the Labor Day weekend go by, one of the big travel holidays here in the U.S. And, the safety message that is being preached during the Drive Sober, Get Pulled Over annual campaign, the 2 weeks that lead up through Labor Day taking place. And you and I were talking off the air, not just in Frederick County, but in our tri-quad county area here of Frederick, Warren, Clark, Fauquier, even Shenandoah. We've had several fatalities. We've had one now that just came into the news. I think it was reported on today. It might have been here as well. I'm not sure. But, a group of motorcycles, and we've talked about some of the issues with this subculture. Not all motorcycles. I keep giving the disclaimer.
Right.
So when we talk about motorcycles, motorcyclists, riders, bikers, whatever, we're not grouping everybody together. But the subsect of this group, there's a certain breakout group that are just, they're ripping and roaring, and you only live once. I'm going to come sliding in with my hair on fire and tell St. Peter, what a ride. And St. Peter's going to go, yeah, but it's going to be a little warmer where you're headed. But, and not necessarily because you didn't live a good life, but look how it ended.
Yeah,
look what you did.
There are people in line in front of you because of you.
And so this group of motorcyclists catches the attention of Virginia State Police by their driving behaviors. They initiate a stop. Cyclist doesn't stop. The motorcyclist doesn't stop, and so a pursuit is ensued. They eventually lose sight of the motorcycle. Motorcycles are quick, agile. They have that takeoff speed. But the thing about physics and gravity, folks, is you gotta know your limitations. You gotta know the limitation of the machine you're riding or driving. And apparently, after they lost sight of it, the rider kept driving in the fashion that he was. And let's be clear.
The pursuit had ended because they couldn't see it.
Yeah, when people say, well, if you all just wouldn't chase them, first of all, in this instance, they were already doing stupid stuff. And by stupid, I mean excessive speed. Whether they were doing the wheelies and all that other stuff, I don't know. But excessive speed, they were already doing it before anyone tried to stop them. Then they continued doing it while they were trying to stop them. And then he obviously continued it after they stopped chasing him because they lost sight, and he crashes. No one's there to witness it, and he's not found till the next day.
Wow.
And so this young man is dead. Just 2 nights ago, 3 maybe, state police initiate pursuit of a motorcycle. This one with a rider on it, a passenger. So you've got 2 on the bike, and they get on the interstate eventually in Frederick County after coming from Clark County, I believe. And the bike starts to lose control and is about to crash. And so the trooper, to avoid hitting them, goes off the side of the road. He crashes his vehicle. The bike also still crashes. And so you have 3 people that are going to the hospital. Nobody, thankfully, dead in that one. You've got a car on 81 again near the same area, again in Frederick County, northbound. doesn't want to wait, trying to pass somebody, tries to get around, comes around too quick, off the left edge of the road into the median, loses control, comes across the southbound side, rolls over, head injury, no seatbelt, dead. And so these things are happening still in our area, right here where we all live, work, where our children go to school, our grandchildren, whatever the case may be. And it's all hours of the day or night. And so when we keep preaching this message of traffic safety and how important it is, number one, if someone wants to argue, I saw someone post, there's a study that says most crashes are happening because people driving 10 miles an hour under the flow of traffic. Now, it didn't say under the speed limit. It said under the flow of traffic. So what the study is saying, if traffic is flowing at 70 in a 55, then everyone should be doing 70, because if you're only doing 60 in a 55, which is still 5 over, but 10 below what the rest of traffic is doing, you're creating a hazard. Folks, let me tell you something about physics. No one has posted this study. No one has shown the statistical data. But you tell me this. If I'm 20 feet away from you and I'm going 10 miles an hour, how long does it take me to get to you? You're 1.466 feet per second for every mile per hour. So you're going 10, we'll say 11 feet. It's going to take me 2 whole seconds to get to you if you're stopped. Now, we're traveling together and you're 10 miles an hour below me, but we're still both moving. When I first see you, I would hope that I'm further back than 20 feet.
True.
And I would hope that I see that I'm gaining 11 feet per second on you. So this thing that they come up on a slower vehicle at 10 miles slower than they are, and boom, they crash, and people are rolling 7 and 8 times. Physics doesn't work that way. Time and distance doesn't work that way. So you can post these little things that you've heard, you've seen. There's a guy that says this. It must be true. It's on the internet. And I'm not saying that slower drivers can't create a hazard.
They can be a hazard.
But we're talking slower drivers. And are we saying that because 3/4 of people decide I'm going to push the magic number of 10 over the limit, that then everybody should push it? Why not just adjust the speed limit? Because a bunch of engineers with a bunch of letters at the end of their name say this is a safe speed in most cases to be going. Again, you don't agree with what the government is telling you have to do, or the way you have to drive, or wearing your seatbelt, or that you need a license, or that you got to pay for a registration. Take that up with Richmond.
Right?
But for those people who want to abide by those laws, I don't think we should be shaming them and trying to point the finger at them, saying they're the problem. Now, you got someone at 40 in a 70 on the interstate. I'm the first one to tell them, you should really get on Route 11. It parallels the interstate. You'll have to go through some towns, but you're going to get to where you want to go. That's the great thing about I-81 is Route 11 is right there on either side, because sometimes it crosses over, and you can still get to where you want to go. And if you're comfortable at 40, you're not going to be an issue.
Well, you are if I'm behind you, but that's a whole other
not the issue that,
Not the issue you would on the interstate.
Correct.
When the speed limit is much higher.
So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's okay for people to go well below, but someone that is actually doing the speed limit or just a little above, but you have the flow of traffic that's going even faster, that's a bogus survey in and of itself.
Oh,
because we're telling people, hey, keep up with the flow of traffic. All right, who gets to set the flow? Who's the alpha lemming here? Because that's what we're saying. We're all going to be a bunch of lemmings. Follow the leader. When he jumps off the cliff,
everybody goes with him.
I used to love that game. It was frustrating, but it was. But yeah, so
okay. So speaking of speed limits, I have to tell you, I had on Monday show. I recorded it yesterday with Ken Slack from VDOT. And during the break, he and I were just having conversations about other topics that we're going to talk about in upcoming shows. And I said, by the way, you get mentioned a fair amount. He goes, I do? I said, well, not you personally, but VDOT, when I do my shows with Gaz, because he frequently says he enforces the law. He's not the one that decides what a speed limit should be on a certain road. He's the one whose job it is to make sure that that's the speed limit people are going, and that it's VDOT's job to set those speed limits. And he goes, oh. He gave me this look. So Ken Slack and I are going to do a show on how they set those speed limits and why they are what they are, where they are.
Tell him to bring one of these magical engineers I hear about, because I haven't met any.
And he talked about this thing. Yes.
Let's meet the unicorn of VDOT.
And it's all this and a number of cars in a given time.
Yeah.
And it is crazy how technical it is.
Yeah. And when people say, 81 was built for faster than 55 miles an hour, because at one point the speed limit was 55. Well, we've proven that's true, because now the speed limit for the most part is 70. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, most people are doing all right. Anything can change on any given day with weather conditions and such, and volume of traffic.
Seems fast enough. I think when you're at 55 and you feel like it should be 60 or 65, it's easier to go that 5 or 10 over. But I think when you're doing 70, you're probably, most people, I hope, are feeling like, you know what, this is as fast as I need to be going on this road. 80 seems a little outrageous.
The other side of that coin, Janet, I've driven on I-15 in Utah, and the speed limit's 85. Mm-hmm.
In Oklahoma, there are some roads that don't have any speed limits.
And so when they say it's not the road or the traffic, it's the drivers, to a degree that might be true. But again, I-15 in Utah isn't like I-81 here, in the northern Shenandoah Valley. Trust me. And two, they put out the signs with the elk on them, not the deer. So let me know how that works out for you if you catch an elk at 85 miles an hour.
They are huge.
But so I understand. And I'm on both sides. You think I didn't travel 85 when they said I could?
Right?
Damn right I did. It was like I had my Dodge Charger with the Hemi, and she was purring, and I'm like, I like this, But I also didn't have cars around me. Mm-hmm. JP and I on the road trip, I mean, nobody passed us, but I might have seen 4 or 5 other cars. And the other thing was, it was 109 miles between exits. Yeah. So,
so
109 miles.
Very little chance of somebody trying to merge into or out of traffic.
Plenty of signs saying, last exit for 109 miles. I'm like,
need gas?
Holy, So there are times and there are places, and yes, that highway, we're talking about 81 here or even 66, they're built to where they could handle a higher speed. But when you start adding the volume in, when you start adding the commercial motor vehicles in, when you start adding that it's not flat, there are hills, and so those tractor trailers pulling that load when they get to that hill, they're side by side coming to it, and you're like, would one of you guys move up? And now it's too late. Because they're both bogged down going up, and you're like, son of a gun.
Yep.
Except you're not saying gun. And it's like, there are so many other factors that the general motorist isn't thinking about. And those are the kind of things that I try to keep pointing out to people that I understand, that you feel like. And when you've driven 70, 75, almost 80 for 3-4 hours, and then you hit a road where it's 55, and you're like, holy, am I ever going to get there? It's like you
feel like you stopped. Yeah.
And there's a reason for that, because you become accustomed to it. But we've also talked about the fact of first point of possible perception. We talk about that in crash reconstruction. That's the point in time where I first had a chance to notice that I might have a hazard up in front of me. Then there's the point of perception. This is where you most definitely should be aware of this. And then you're past the point of anything. You're on for the ride.
Yeah.
And so when we increase the speeds, we increase those safety times that we have, that stopping distance that we have. So again, it's a matter of look past the fact of, I can drive anything at any speed. I've never had a wreck. I've never been in an accident. It's like, folks, it ain't about if, it's about when. And if you're lucky enough to never be involved in one, good on you.
Right? I totaled every car I ever owned up until the last 2 cars. None of which were my fault.
Okay.
I will clarify that. But
she says.
Yeah, be grateful, because the last thing you want to do is be involved in an accident that you are at fault for, or even that you're not.
Here's the bottom line. And here's the thing, that if anybody takes a message away from today's Traffic Safety Thursday, here's the message that I'm going to keep preaching. And I even experience it. And when I say that, I'm not putting myself above anybody else. I'm saying, again, I understand, because when I take the vest and the gun belt off, I'm just me. I get frustrated with some people on the road. I know that feeling. This situation we have with road rage. I don't know. Is it something they're putting in our food? Is the government spiking and we don't know about it? Because it's like most of the bad situations that are happening on the highway that aren't truly crashes, that they're being triggered. They're being triggered because somebody gets angry. They go to whip around somebody. They whip too far, too hard. The ass end comes around. You yaw. You lose control, and now you're in the crash. And all why? Because that guy wouldn't get out of my way. I've been waiting 3 miles to pass him. The two trucks side by side. I'm going to pass on the right shoulder. Oops. Sorry, didn't see the broke down vehicle in time. So many road rage type, and it doesn't have to get to the point where you're banging the dash and cussing. Just even the simplest frustration is enough to where your foot goes a little heavier on the gas, your hand jerks the wheel a little harder, you wait a little bit closer to the person before you go, you whip around or you cut in. It's some of those little things. Here's what I want you to do. Go. Just like I do when I'm looking at these social media comments and stuff. All right?
Yeah, how's that working out for you?
Hey. I type, delete.
See, this is what I do. I type back the most perfect response, and then I revel in it for a moment, and then I delete it, but I still feel like I have said my point, even though the other person never actually got to hear
I screenshot it. That way I have it for myself, and then I delete it. I told them.
Yeah, see, that works. I'm going to start screenshotting and sending you my responses.
There we go.
And that way we know that somebody else we've been heard, because that's very important. Thank you for meeting me over here today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I got to go out here and shine my award.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley today. A few minutes after noon, United Way Day. So meet me here for that.